Hello there, I'm Emmanuel Ereyi. As the sun begins to set on 2021 and we get ready to step into the dawn of the new year 2022, we look back at some stories and events that marked 2021 and how some of them affected our lives. Now, these are some news stories and current affairs that occurred in the UK, the US, Africa, and around the world. In the turn of the year 2021, the best news perhaps was about the COVID-19 vaccines and how they can possibly put the pandemic in the shadows. Those hopes were apparently tested as new variants of the virus emerged, raising questions over whether the vaccines will be effective against the new variants. First, it was Alpha, then Delta, and now Omicron. On the vaccines, as the UK continued its vaccination program with millions getting jabs after jabs, there was a vaccine rift between the country and the EU over AstraZeneca in the first quarter of the year. The EU blamed the UK vaccine maker of favoring its home country and demanded that vaccines produced in EU countries cannot be exported without EU license, restricting supply in what seemed to threaten global collaboration against the pandemic, seen by many as an extension of post-Brexit tensions. Both the UK and the EU have since gone past their differences over the vaccine, and this year over 9 billion vaccinations were administered. Now to the variants that seem to have taken the world by storm, Omicron. 11 African countries were put on the red list by the UK after South Africa and Nigeria detected and reported samples of the variant. The UK was criticized for that move by the World Health Organization and others, warning that it might discourage countries from reporting on the virus. The UK has since scrapped all travel restrictions, and its own travelers are on the ban list of at least 30 countries over rapidly increasing infections of Omicron as the government continues campaigns for booster jobs. Now, how will the world respond to Omicron in 2022? And have we seen the last of the COVID-19 variants? You may wonder. Now, away from the virus to yes, this. In March, researchers from an Ivy League research institution in the US, Brown University, were able to demonstrate the first instances of wireless interfacing between the human brain and a tab computer. This research, first introduced by BrainGate, an organization that develops technology that uses computer interfacing to aid persons suffering from neurological disorders and paralysis, opens new study of how signals from the human brain connect to a computer and operate it, even while the subjects are asleep. Now, still in the US, hundreds of pro-Trump supporters who were in DC violently breached the Capitol building to stop Congress from certifying President Biden's electoral victory, killing one police officer and injuring 140 others. Donald Trump was banned from Twitter at the time. The former US president had over 88 million followers and had tweeted over 25,000 times during his presidency. Also in the year, the US, UK alongside NATO withdrew from Afghanistan after 20 years of occupation, leaving the country in the hands of the Taliban and sending thousands of Afghans who wanted to flee the country to the border. Kabul airport became a terror ground as many tried to get on any available plane to leave the country in what was utter chaos in most parts. The desperation of thousands to flee the Sharia rule of the Taliban was perhaps captured in sad images out of the country that showed hundreds running after an American C-70 aircraft taking off at Kabul airport. In Myanmar, coup d'etat on the morning of 1st February sparked off a nationwide protest as the country's military forces met thousands of pro-democracy protesters with extreme violence. Instead of retreating, the protesters continued to be creative and daring, in their pro-democracy movement at the risk of arrest, torture, and death. Now, talking about military takeovers, there were coups d'etat in 4 African countries, Guinea, Sudan, Chad, and Mali, raising questions about whether military takeovers are back to the stage in Africa and the continent's threatened democratic institutions. And finally, is Russia planning to invade Ukraine? The signs are worrying for Ukrainians and the West that it may just be a matter of time. Russian forces, which Western intelligence believe are up to 100,000, other reports say even bigger numbers, build up around the border of Ukraine. It's not just a story for 2021, but one to keep an eye on in the turn of the new year, as US President Joe Biden and President Vladimir Putin of Russia talk tough. Now tell us, which of these stories mattered most to you and why? Which story that happened in 2021 would you like to add to the list? Please do follow me on Twitter. My handle is @Emmanuel Ereyi, and let's talk about it. Happy New Year.